there. Hi there, welcome to today's Business Growth Club show. We are so pleased to have you here. The theme is growth marketing.
We're talking about actions and consequences today.
It's all about purpose.
Driving business growth with using KPIs.
We're talking money mindset.
The Growth Club, I mean, not to oversell it, but it's so well organised. So yeah, it was totally invaluable.
The Growth Club, coupled alongside with the Masters that I'm doing at Strategic Leadership at the moment, both of those things happening collectively have definitely transformed, and the Growth Club did have a massive impact for our business.
What is it that attracted you to come to the Growth Club in the first place? Let me just ask you to start off with that.
Well, because it was the two of you, basically.
Hiya, how you doing? Welcome. Hope you've had a really fantastic bank holiday weekend. We're super pleased to be here with you this evening. Our theme is all around effective delegation for entrepreneurs. So if you feel like you're doing it all yourself and there's not enough hours in the day and all of that, then tonight is the show for you. So we've got a good one, haven't we, Mahmood?
We have indeed, actually. And we just had a conversation between ourselves about effective delegation here. You'll see, by the way, why I do the career that I do in terms of numbers and finance. So I'm not a creative designer as well.
Well, it's you'll see we've got some slides for you. Not only a couple, it's not a slideshow, but we've got some slides for you, and they've been beautifully created by Mahmood. I think you've done a good job, Mahmood. Actually, a really good job. So we've had a great bank holiday weekend. It's been nice to have the 4-day break. I know some people have been working through. What did you get up to, Mahmood?
Probably a bit of a combination, actually, Jo. So I did some work. Didn't get off the roundabout completely. So looked after my cats. One of my cats got poorly, so we had to rush it off to the vet, keeping up with its sister. Did a bit of relaxing, watched some films. Obviously, it goes without saying, some Easter eggs were consumed. Was going to go a bit of a walk around where I live. Because I don't take a lot of time off, it was quite interesting to see what that looked like. Yeah, so it was a nice, relaxing weekend with obviously a bit of work thrown in there yourself. Because you're pretty terrible yourself, actually, in terms of taking time off. So what did you get up to?
I actually had a really quiet one. I did some bits and pieces work-wise, but nothing too much, and just relaxed actually, and did some art. I did some collage and some mixed media stuff, which I find just really relaxing. So that's what I did. I didn't know you were into films. So what was the best film you watched over the bank holiday?
I caught up with a bit of a box series. So I'm watching this thing called, is it Ogars? It's one of these Netflix type series there. So I'm terrible when it comes to box sets. If I watch one I like, I have to stay up and watch it. So I tend to mass consume it as far as that's concerned. But yeah, when I get a chance, I do my live films, and I even ordered a non-fiction book as well.
Which one?
You might be slightly surprised. It was by the lady who was the actress in Basic Instinct. Oh God, I've forgotten her name.
Sharon Stone?
Sharon Stone. I bought her autobiography. I heard her being interviewed on Woman's Hour. That's the sort of rock and roll lifestyle that I lead. Fascinating backstory. So I got a hold of her book, and it's the first non-fiction book I bought for about 20 years.
Wow. So there's clearly something that impressed you. I mean, one Netflix series I would recommend is The One. I don't know if you've seen that, but I don't watch series, and I was glued to that. I actually watched it from start to finish in one sitting. It was that compelling for me. So see what you think. But anyway, hopefully you'll all have more time to do all these things and to spend time doing the things you enjoy, because you're going to become delegation super ninjas.
I like what you did there.
If you're not one already, because what we've got on the show tonight, we're going to talk to you about really about the entrepreneurial mindset and understanding what's going through many entrepreneurs' minds based on a lot of research as well as practical experience when it comes to delegation, and why it can feel so hard to let go sometimes. We'll be talking about building a competent team that you can trust and that you can delegate to. And that could be a team of staff, employees, or it could be a team of virtual assistants or people, contractors, however you like to call them, and also some tips and techniques for being a delegation super ninja. And we've got a checklist for you as well. If you're thinking about delegating something and you're not sure, then there's a handful of questions that we'll walk you through so that you can see what's the best delegation strategy. So busy show.
Busy show, and I think I'm glad you introduced that idea of team, by the way. So if you're an SME business out there, if you're just starting up on your business journey or midway through that, you think, I don't have a team, you do have a team, because a team can consist of freelancers, subcontractors, employed staff, anybody who's part of your circle of individuals and businesses to actually help deliver and support your business is part of your team. So, look at team as a wider concept beyond the people you directly employ.
Yeah. If you were to write down anyone who you rely on or helps you in some way to do your business, to deliver your business, then you would have quite a list, I'm sure. We don't do these things on our own, even when we're solopreneurs. It usually takes some form of team in one format or another. And one of the reasons we wanted to do this show is because we meet so many entrepreneurs that want to grow, they want to scale, they want to do more, they feel like they're working in the business instead of on the business, but they never feel like they've got the time to go and do those things. They feel like, but actually they're creating that situation for themselves because they also don't want to let go. They want to do the things that they want to do, but they also want to do the new things, and there's a tension there that doesn't work. But there are some benefits in delegating. So before we get into how to delegate, let's talk about what are the benefits of delegating.
And if by magic,
ready,
we have indeed. Let's see if this is going to work there. So me and Joe have actually gone to one side. So what we've got here, delegation is a big deal because it is. It is impossible, by the way, to run your business and to grow your business without actually getting involved in some form of delegation. Joe mentioned mindset at the very beginning here, and I think that's probably one of the biggest battles that you've got to face there, of actually making that first step. So let's see if this works. He says, bang, bang, bang. So time, absolutely. What does that mean? Well, time is probably a commodity that you're not going to be able to replace, but you can certainly supplement it and you can build capacity. So if you're able to delegate tasks, and as Joe mentioned a checklist at the beginning, as we dive into the checklist in a bit more detail here, we're not saying everything you outsource and delegate, but there is a time saving, and by the way, there's a cost saving, and there's definitely an investment opportunity. The more time you create, the more time you save, the more time you free up. That gives you the ability to work on other things, and your time has a monetary value attached to it.
Yeah, and also sometimes you can say, well, it's just so much quicker to do it myself. If it is a task that is repeated, you're regularly doing that task, then see the time as an investment, because you will, yes, it might for the first couple of times, you might have to invest some time in showing somebody how to do something and while they learn. But actually, once they've learned, then you'll get the return on that time because they'll be able to do it independently, and that task will be off your list and you can trust somebody else to do it. Time is the one asset that we can't replace. When it's gone, it's gone.
100%. I mean, I've seen that in my own offices over 20 odd years. And in the beginning, I'm not brilliant now, but in the beginning, I always resisted against delegating tasks because you think, I can do it myself, it's going to be much quicker, but you've got to have that breath, you've got to invest that time initially, and it will pay off for you.
Yeah. It's actually really good to help other people through delegation, because if you delegate a task, firstly, people feel trusted. But you've got to give them this, once they are competent to do a task, you've got to give them the space to do it, and you've got to give them space to do it their way as well. And sometimes there are different preferences in how things are done, but actually people can feel really valued, really trusted, and really developed when you give them something and ask them to do a task for you, a job for you. So, and it's also good for their growth. If you are helping people to learn how to do some of the things that you do, then that's really good for their personal development.
Yeah, and motivation is a big thing, everybody. And, money isn't, by the way, the only variable that motivates individuals. So that feeling of trust, that feeling of wanting to get involved your actions do have a ripple effect on those around you.
Yeah. And also, if people think that you're the only person who can make a decision, then you will be the bottleneck in terms of, they won't move until you've given them a decision, and that can really clog up your business. So it's really important to make sure that people are able to make decisions at the right level within their sphere. They can go on and they can keep things going, and you make the bigger decisions.
Was it they say sometimes you can actually get in your own way? So, get out your own way sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's pretty much overlapping in terms of what you're saying here. Trust and dependency. So trust is a big variable. It's a big factor in your business life. And if you do not delegate, people become over dependent on you to do it, as Joe just said. It becomes very difficult to actually create and liberate that space there as well. So it has a bearing.
And there's a resilience impact around dependency as well, because if you're the only person who knows how to do a load of really important stuff in your business, then if you're taken out for some reason, if you're not feeling well or something like that, then other people won't be able to pick up the pieces for you and keep the wheels turning. So it's also really good from a trust and dependency point of view. It feeds into your business resilience over time.
Yeah, it's a very high risk match factor. If you think about people out there, if you think about in your business, if you've got a commodity that you've got to buy in, a material, a part for your business to actually work successfully, the rarest it is, the more difficult it is to get hold of. There's a high risk to your business continuity if you're unable to get hold of that part there as well. So think of yourself as a big cog in your own machine.
Yeah. And it's good for you, isn't it, as the entrepreneur, from a self-esteem point of view, that you can delegate and have confidence in your people. How do you see that, Mahmood?
Oh, yeah, very much so. I think it's just overlapping some of the points we've said, or not just on this show, but previously. Leadership, is key, and you can be a small team and be a leader. But, people look to you for leading an example. And if you keep everything in yourself and you feel you don't want to make that leap of faith to actually delegate tasks there as well, people are less likely to come to you with ideas. They're less likely to come to you because they will know. And they are conscious by that because they want to protect your time as well. So there's lots of these things that are hidden here. And it's a good sign of leadership to actually have faith, trust in others to help them with you. Any senior leader, or from Richard Branson onwards, they have got their success based on these skill sets and relying on others to help them deliver the business.
Yeah, I think it's really important as well to get people to play to their strengths, and really leverage other people's strengths, and actually appreciate that sometimes people have knowledge and insight and experience that is different and in many ways more valuable than your own in some circumstances. So by delegating, you tap into all of that talent that is around you, and that you can access that because actually we don't have all the answers ourselves, even if we think we do. So there are lots of benefits to delegation. Any more? Is that the list? One more. Scalability. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. You cannot, your success, product, service based, whatever, you cannot scale up, you cannot have a bigger impact than you are now unless you actually delegate those tasks, unless they introduce cloning, unless there's 38 hours in a day, which is impossible. You have to delegate. And remember, in delegation, by the way, we're not talking about abrogation, we're not talking about walking away from things, but it's getting other people to help you deliver those tasks there as well. And if you don't do that, then your business is limited to a size, which is fine if that's how you define your measure of success. But if you do want to scale, you've got to delegate.
Yeah. There's actually a quote which is from Vern Harnish, who wrote all the Rockefeller scale up books. He said, to get to 10 employees, founders must delegate activities in which they're weak. To get to 50 employees, they have to delegate functions in which they are strong. In many cases, the strength of the top leader becomes the weakness of the organization. So in the early stages, it's about delegating the things that you're not good at or that you don't like doing. And then as you get bigger, you're going to have to delegate some of the things that you're good at and give people space to be good at it themselves and do things their way as well, because it's no good thinking that everybody's going to be a replica of you and how you do things. You've got to give people space to do things their way, within some parameters, of course. So let's have a chat then about why is it that so many entrepreneurs actually struggle with delegation. And they might struggle with delegation in some aspects, but not in others. And why is that? And the thing is, it's about trust, control, doing it all yourself, and it being your passion, your baby. You know what you're doing with your business. And that's a really hard habit to break, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've gone through those same growing pains myself in terms of going from a sort of back bedroom operation, sort of building it up. And, nobody, and let's be realistic, nobody's ever going to see the business in the same way that you do. You can't expect them to. They don't have the same investment. They don't get the same returns. So, be realistic. And if it all the time is going to be just you can't let go, then you're heading for a major stressful at some point. You're going to put too much load on your own shoulders there. And if you want to move forward, you have to, and it would be good to, you have to delegate. Yeah.
And the reasons why entrepreneurs prefer to do things themselves are firstly that they think they've got, this standard. And that's okay. It's great to have standards. It's great to have a vision. We can all name, people like Steve Jobs that wanted things a certain way and so on. And that's fine. But it's about knowing where standards matter and where you can be more flexible. Where are those standards important? Also, because we carry so much stuff in our heads, it's easier to keep it in there and just work intuitively rather than actually taking the time to think through what we're doing, why we want it done that way, and to explain it and make it explicit to somebody else. Do you find that, Mahmood? Lots of people just carrying stuff in their heads and really don't make the effort to get what's in their heads out, so other people can act on it. Yeah.
I mean, it's not specifically going to be covered tonight here, but as we were talking about this, Joe, I'm thinking about examples of big companies that we're all familiar with that actually have got delegation down to an art. And it's about systemizing, it's about procedures, it's about, as your business grows, you get further and further away from the day-to-day operational things. You can still keep yourself reminded about that, but it means that you've got other things that you look at. And the best example I can think of a company that delegates is Amazon, because Amazon predominantly at the heart of it is a website that's got lots of outsourced partners here. It operates very effectively, operates very efficiently. We know the size is magnificent. And it does that by delegating and choosing its partners correctly, thinking about the key tasks and actually overviewing them and monitoring them. But you're right. Yeah. We're very bad at getting things on paper and very bad at documenting things.
Yeah. And, if Jeff Bezos, when he founded Amazon, I think it's a great example, actually. It's a brilliant example. But if Jeff Bezos had gone, I've got to do it all myself because nobody can achieve the vision like I can, and he wanted to stack his books in a certain way and dispatch them and, design the website and all of that himself, Amazon wouldn't be Amazon. It would be... Absolutely. It'd be a really tiny business, flogging a few books off a homemade website, So it's really important to get all those ideas, all that knowledge out of your head and communicated to other people, because it has a multiplier effect in that they can go out and do your thing for you many, many times over and achieve far more than you can on your own. And I think sometimes people just enjoy playing in a comfortable space, don't they? Like, I feel really comfortable here. I'm good at this. This is what I'm going to stick to.
I think it's amazing, Joe, because I think we're going to have time to cover it all. But I think also there's elements of people are very protective about what they do. They feel if they share it too much, that people are going to nick their ideas. People are going to run off and do all these things. Generally speaking, what I tend to find is ideas themselves are great. You've got to start off with somewhere, but the ideas are only a small part of the overall thing there as well. And there are things you can do to cover yourself, to protect yourself, to actually against people poaching things off you. So I think it's a whole weird thing that goes on in people's mindsets as to why they don't decide to go down the delegation route.
Yeah. What I hear a lot is, yeah, but I really enjoy doing that. Well, that's okay. But you want to grow and move on to do other things, and you really enjoy doing that yourself. Well, you've got a choice to make.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a choice. So let's move on then to how do you, because you can only delegate if you've got people that you trust that you can delegate to. Mahmood, you said you started your business off the kitchen table and sort of really grew from there. So how did you build and develop a competent team that you could trust?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. So if I think here, I got to the stage and I probably made loads of mistakes in the beginning, which is why I feel very confident 26 years later to give people advice, because I've gone through that pain barrier. It's not completely out of the woods here. It was about thinking what was important. Okay, so for me, it was always a customer focus. So customers are interested in good quality delivery. So it was actually the competence and the technical skills weren't actually the key thing. It was actually looking for skills of actually customer interaction, doing the work, and actually having procedures for people to follow. Because if you're gonna choose people to do things and you don't want to be there micromanaging them all the time, they've got to have some degree of competence. They've got to follow procedures, and you've got to be able to review their work. Because in the initial stages, that investment of time and energy paid itself off. I've had lots of interesting characters that work with me and work for me over the years, and I've got a fantastic team now. But what's that old cliche about kissing frogs before you find your prince? It's the same with finding suitable people.
Yeah, we've all done that, haven't we? As in, kissed a few frogs before a good one has come along. But yeah, really, it's about trust, mindset, shared values, honesty, transparency, and being really clear with processes and so on. I mean, I've got someone in my team. She is absolutely awesome, who works with me on a virtual basis, and she's in America, and we've got some really clear processes all laid out in Asana, and we follow the processes, and in fact she's much better than I am at many things, and she's created some processes that I can follow to help her help me, which is awesome.
Perfect.
So tips and techniques for managing and for becoming a delegation super ninja. This isn't about micromanaging, nor is it about abdication. Okay, so when you delegate, you still have got responsibility to make sure that the person feels supported and that things are going to plan. But we've got a checklist coming up that we'll show you. Just, if you're thinking about should you delegate this or not, here's a bit of a process you can go through. And if you'd like a copy of this, let us know. Give us your email address or spit in the comments. Provide us your email address privately, and we'll just send it out to you.
Absolutely.
So, let's have a look at the checklist.
Yeah. So now there are a few points that go on this checklist here, by the way. So we're going to go through what the checklist is about, and as Joe said, we will send you a copy on request.
Yeah. So start off thinking, what is the task? And who are you thinking about giving that task to, or asking that person to do the task? So what might be a task we could use, Mahmood?
Oh, let's have a think. I'm not sure if I'm going to be competent in this area. So let's talk about invoicing, shall we?
Invoicing, okay. So let's talk about invoicing to Mahmood, okay? We're thinking about getting Mahmood to do all our invoicing for us so we don't have to do it. So that's the task and that's the person. What comes next?
The drum roll.
So is it critical that I, the entrepreneur, personally complete the task? Let me know in the comments. Tell Mahmood what you think. Do you think it is important that the entrepreneur themselves, the business owner, personally completes invoicing? I would tick no. I would tick the no column for that. Would you agree?
I would agree there. So in my own office, by the way, I don't actually do much of the invoicing because I don't get in my way, because otherwise it would take forever to get it out there. I've got a superb credit controller that does that. So think about things. Is it customer facing? Is it critical to what you deliver? Invoicing is critical, by the way, for cash flow, obviously, but is the task itself of getting that invoice out the door critical? That's got to be done by the entrepreneur. What
we're actually asking here is, does it matter that you do the task, right? Is it critical that I personally, as in you, the entrepreneur, complete the task? And quite often, if you ask yourself that question, the answer is no more times than you might think. But we know Mahmood doesn't do invoicing. We're just sort of playing around here and having a bit of fun. But really, any business owner does not need to invoice personally. Okay, so what's the next one? So is the person that you've specified qualified to complete the task? So in Mahmood's case, yes, he's more qualified than most, and he's got a whole business behind him that can do that task, right? So you're thinking about, is the person I'm asking to qualified? Now, it doesn't have to be a formal qualification. It could be just, have they been trained? Are they able to do it? Are they competent?
Yeah, have they got the experience? All those things come on board. And remember, you ask the question, you need some way to actually validate the answer as well.
Is the task within the person's scope of practice? So what this question's driving at and asking you to think about is this within the person's remit of what they normally do, work-wise, or what they could reasonably expected to do at work? So if you're asking, we'll move this away from Mahmood now. If you're asking somebody else to do invoicing, and actually their job is to serve front of house in your bar or restaurant, and they've no experience of any office work, admin work, or invoicing or finance, then that would be a no to number 2, and it would also be a no to number 3. Yeah, how does it fit within their overall job role?
Yeah, okay. And remember, some of these tasks, by the way, you've got to understand what's involved in them, because it's sometimes not just a question of putting numbers into a box. You may need the knowledge base. I know we're talking about finance here, to actually know what goes into those numbers and goes into the box there as well. So, the competence links there, and, as I said.
Yeah. And then this is important. Can the person work independently? So if you delegate to them and give them some demonstrations, some instructions, some support, will they then be able to go away and do the job themselves or not? And this is really important, isn't it? Because you want people to be able to, over time, pick things up and go and do them, so you can get on and do something else. What do you think about that, Mahmood?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, you're always going to have an investment of time in the beginning when you delegate to anybody. That ideal plug and play model that says, here's a task, get on with it. There's an element of supervision, but you don't want to be literally micromanaging them all the time. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose. So again, that element of independent working, from a compliance point of view and from a control point of view, that's going to be a good factor to take on board.
Yeah. And does the person have the time to do the task? Now, this is an interesting one, because if you ask most people, they'll tell you they haven't got the time and they're too busy. Also, what I don't think we should be doing in most cases is actually deciding whether other people have time or not. We'll have a view overall in terms of the person's capacity, and if we think it looks reasonable, given everything that's going on, to fit it in. But this is a two-way street, the person's also got a responsibility to manage their time as well. But does the person have the time, or are they already drowning in paperwork, and will this just send them further under? So think about that one as well. And what do you think about people, delegation and time management, and making sure the team are working productively, Mahmood?
Well, it's interesting because it overlaps with some of the elements we've talked about before. So, I think what's really useful actually is if you think about your procedures and processes, some of them may have been just developed over a period of time, actually documenting them, looking at the flow chart, looking at what's actually involved, actually does identify areas where time savings can be made, where things can be made more efficient. And I think generally speaking, a lot of us are very poor at time management, whether it's distractions, we don't have structure, whatever that we do that. So yeah, I think it's a very important commodity. I think when you're going through this delegation, you think about those tasks here, it does make you think, and it does make you sort of consider quite carefully how things are done.
Yeah, and we've got a great comment actually from which we'll just show from Layla on Facebook. She said, I think this is really great. arts council projects when artists employ people to take responsibility for various tasks, marketing, publicity, website design, etc. So she's got to go now. As you've got a meeting, Layla. Great video. Well, I hope you catch us on replay. Thank you very much for that. I'm really pleased it's helpful. Let us know if you'd like us to send you the checklist. So all of these really important things to think about.
Oh, great point there.
Why?
Well, it's always about this investment of time, and I think there's a tendency for people when they look at these things, whether it's when we look at delegation, and they use the framework of cost. It's going to cost me X. I think you've got to take a step back and actually look at this in terms of investment here. So time that you invest at the beginning will generate, if it's done correctly, benefits going forward here. I suppose the question would be, it's the same analogy I would draw when it says, I don't want to train this individual because they might leave me or because I don't have time. You've got to ask yourself a question: what do you do if you don't invest that training budget? What do you do if you don't train that person? Well, if you don't have the time to train them and answer those questions, you're forever not going to be in a situation where you're moving forward with that. So you've got to either create the time, make the time. You do have the time, you just got to rethink your priorities.
Yeah, and you can actually do this in a really time efficient way as well. So if there is a repeatable process, what you do is you document yourself performing that process. You can either video it, you can write it down, make some notes as you do it, and therefore you've got a set of training materials ready to give to anyone. So you can talk them through it, you can demonstrate it, and then you can leave them with the notes and or the video that you've created. You can use something like Zoom to do, to record yourself on screen and record your actual screen as you're doing things. Think
about people who, when they have FAQs on their website, for example, those are there. So you're actually limiting the amount of time somebody's going to come to you. So think about the FAQs. Think about some, I wouldn't say manual necessarily, but some procedure where you've got common questions. But make the time and invest it accordingly.
Yeah, definitely. Do I have time to assist if necessary? So this isn't about just training and answering questions when the person's you first actually delegating the task. This is about actually stepping in to support. So as things evolve, and there are some things that the person doing the job might think about asking that you didn't think about because they just see it differently. And sometimes you need to help them out once the project or the delegation task has got started. So do you have the time to assist? How can you create that time if you don't? I just want to drop in Richard's comment. Hi, Richard. It's good to see you. He says, just dropped in. If the answer is yes to all, is number 7, why haven't you delegated this already? Very good, we like that. The answer to number 7 so far is, do I have time to assist if necessary?
Oh, sorry, hang on. Let's,
that's all right. You were smiling at Richard's comment. Yeah. And then...
Yeah, needed resources available. So it's not just the cash. Make sure you invest. Is it equipment that they need? Is it processes and procedures? And again, resources, by the way, it's not just money. It's about skill sets. It's about equipment. It's about capacity. If you're going to make it work, you need to think about this. Remember, this is all about investment in a situation, in a delegation process that is going to reap benefits for you.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to set people up to succeed. And this is what it's all about. So when we've got to number 8, we have your thoughts. So you step back and you look at all of this in the round. So as long as it's not critical that you personally complete the task, if you've got a task of delivering a global keynote speech, then it's best if you do it, unless there's some unforeseen circumstance. It's not something that you can delegate, really. But given that it's not something that you personally have to do, work through these other things, think about what you need to put in place and make some notes. And then you should have some drum rolls.
We should do. I'm going to get that on the next week.
Maybe one of the symbol. And then, think about, are you going to delegate? Because if you are going to delegate, you need to do it properly and well. Set the person up to succeed, make it a learning opportunity for you and them. And the more you delegate, the better you will become at it. Don't you think? The more you do.
Yeah. If you're thinking, guys, by the way, out there, there's so much I can do to delegate. Sometimes what some people find useful is to probably just keep a work diary for a couple of weeks. Look at what you're actually doing, and think about what you're actually doing in your sort of day-to-day, week by week there as well. You can identify what it is you're doing with your time, and it might be easier then to sift out the tasks that you're looking at to delegate initially.
Yeah. So we'll just pop that down for a second and then just give some other tips. But if you would like that, as we've said, do let us know and we will send that through to you. But just some other tips, really be very clear on what you expect from your people and how they can ask for your help and support from not just from you, but other people in your team as well. And just don't delegate on the run. Don't lob something at someone unless they're super experienced and will know what to do. Don't just lob it at them. Expect it to come back perfect and then be disgruntled when it isn't so. You've really got to think it through and see this as development of people, not dumping a load of stuff on somebody else. And remember that this is an investment in training your team, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think there's a couple of things I'd add to that as well. If you're thinking you don't think you can justify delegating, if you don't think you can justify making that investment, have a look at it this way. If you have a task that you can delegate to somebody else effectively, if that task saves you an hour, 2 hours a week, that's 100 hours in a year. And if you say, let's say, a modest £20 an hour for costs of running your business, that's £2,000 that you've actually saved. If you match it against the cost, that's a great big win-win situation because it's likely your time might be of higher value. Be patient, and KPIs, by the way. KPIs come in every facet of our business life here. So when you do delegate, think about your expectations, think about what you want to get back, and making sure you've got some way to manage and measure what's being delivered.
Yeah. And, be flexible. There are some non-negotiable things that you want doing a certain way. But also give people scope to do things their way as well, because you are not always right and you are not always the one with the right answer. Sometimes different perspectives and different ideas could be super valuable.
Yeah,
so
be confident in yourself, be mature to actually accept that there are people who might have better knowledge than you in certain areas.
Yeah, definitely. So go out and think about what you can delegate, release some time, spend, even if it's to watch a few box sets, but hopefully it's also to help you scale and grow your business as well. And it's such a weight off your shoulders when you know that you've got people there who can do great stuff. You can support each other and you can take the business forward together. And in fact, talking of taking the business forward, if you haven't signed up already, then now's your time to do so, because we have our awesome Get It Done bootcamp on the 23rd of April from 10 a.m. So it's going to be a really packed day, isn't it?
I'm really looking forward to it. So again, the art of delegation. So you've got to think here, get yourself some hours, put it together here, and just think in a whole day, you can have a route map, a growth plan. In that day, you've got the key things here. You've got a bunch of stuff like financials. You get a copy of the recording. It's a really enjoyable environment to do this in. And that is going to be a great springboard for you guys to actually go out there and actually take advantage of the economy opening up, the opportunities that are out there. And what better company could you have than me and Joe taking that session with you?
Yeah. So it's a very, we're keeping the numbers down. We want to give you some really personal attention. Our brains working with you on your business, plus the camaraderie of the small group as well. And you will come out with so much clarity and a clear plan that will take you onwards and upwards and accelerate your growth and make the most of the opportunities. So come and join us. We're holding the early bird price, aren't we?
We are indeed. And do you know what I forgot to do, actually, Joe? This is the art of delegating here that I forgot to do, is obviously in terms of, it's the wrong one. Hang on, 1 second. I'm going to be very dangerous here. So, just talk amongst yourselves, everybody, for a minute or two.
Okay.
There we go. That's better.
So, here we go. Here we go.
So there we are. And we forgot to mention it. Me and Joe have made a conscious decision. We've both got businesses that are doing well. So what we decided to do was to actually have a very concessionary early bird price for those people who wanted to join in. We've got some good news to share over the next couple of weeks as well about stuff that we've been working on in the background. We will do the reveal hopefully next week, if not the week after, what's involved there. So listen, guys, it's a good investment. Look at it. We don't often talk about salesy stuff, by the way, on the show. So we're taking a leaf out of our own books and actually just highlighting this opportunity for you.
Yeah. So we'd love you to come and join us. If you'd like more information, let us know. Have a look at the link there, proactiveresolutions.com. Live, get it done, your revenue growth plan on a page, and we'll put that link in the comments too. So until then, enjoy the rest of this Easter week, and we hope we will see you again, same time, same place next Tuesday, 6 p.m. UK time, same channels, and come and join us on the 23rd as well for our Get It Done Day.
Have a great week, everyone.
Yeah, have a great week. Bye.
Bye. Let's go.
Hi there, welcome to today's Business Growth Club show. We are so pleased to have you here. The theme is growth marketing.
We're talking about actions and consequences today.
It's all about purpose.
Driving business growth with using KPIs.
We're talking money mindset.
The Growth Club, I mean, not to oversell it, but it's so well organised. So yeah, it was totally invaluable.
The Growth Club, coupled alongside with the masters that I'm doing at strategic leadership at the moment, both of those things happening collectively have definitely transformed, and the Growth Club did have a massive impact for our business.
What is it that attracted you to come to the Growth Club in the first place? Let me just start off with that.
Well, because it was the two of you.